Hey, it's Kevin DeWitt here, and welcome to another plugin knowledge session. In this session, we're going to check out a plugin called MIXROOM from Mastering the Mix. So firstly, if you are new to my channel and new to my videos and you like what you see, please click the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell to be notified of all my future videos. So MIXROOM, this is sort of a plugin that I guess complements their previous plugins called, I think it's called BassRoom or Bass. I can't remember exactly what it's called. It focuses more around the mid and high range of the EQ elements and functions in a similar sort of way. But let's just get into it and I'll show you all about it. All right, so we're in Cubase now and I've got MIXROOM open here. So you can see the layout is pretty barren when we first open it up. We have some simple things like we can make it bigger, smaller, whatever else. And we've got various other functions here we'll go through in a moment. But let's just have a bit of a brief of the plugin itself and what it's for and some stuff out of the manual. All right, so they're sort of stating, the summary is getting a clear and balanced sound in the mid to high frequencies can be a time-consuming challenge. It can be frustrating to several different EQ curves and still end up with muddy, dull, thin, or harsh-sounding song. Introducing MIXROOM, an intelligent EQ that guides you to set the perfect balance of richness and clarity, whether you're working on a vocal, a synth, or mastering your music. MIXROOM analyzes your audio and shows you which frequencies could be adjusted to improve your sound. The EQ target suggestion helps you get a solid starting point from which you can tweak your sound to suit your preference. Okay, so we could start off with the how to use MIXROOM in 4 simple steps. So they do obviously state that it can be used on individual tracks or on like a master. Okay, so I've got it on an entire song at the moment. That's what we're going to start with. Now, basically they say load it on the track, right, the master or individual. Choose a preset. So down here we have presets. So we have a couple of ways of doing this. We could click on this target here and we can drop our own files in that we want it to be similar to, and then select a range and it will work from that perspective. Otherwise, they have all of these presets. Okay, so we've got some channel presets here. We've got some mastering presets. So in this case here, let's say it's sort of a, let's just go with, I don't know, contemporary rock. I have no idea what I call this genre of music that I'm going to play here, but we'll go with that. Okay, and now you got to shape your sound. So now monitor a full-bodied section of your audio. So let's just play the song and let's have a look. I see, okay. So we've got this add smart bands. You can see it's building a waveform here on the side. So I'm just going to stop the song. So it's added these bands. Somehow it's determined that those bands are the right ones. Okay, and it's already done the adjustments. And then you can go up to this point here to level match. All right, so the little dot arrow pointing down there is, I guess, the level that we were at previously, and that's where we need to line it up to, which it actually still is by this. And then we can hear the difference. So we can play it. Okay, that's before. And that is after, based on this preset. Now, obviously, the preset, I would imagine, is pretty critical to what you get out of this. Okay, now, if we want to go through all of this individually. So, I mean, you can see what it's done. It's done a 6.3 dB boost on this top end here. It's done a boost there in that range. It's done a cut there of 3.4 dB in that range. It's done a boost of a boost of 3.2 in that range. And it's done a cut of minus 0.6 dB in that range. And if you look at the layout, if you've done anything in MIXROOM, then you'll sort of understand the layout in a way that it works in the way that it's trying to be a 3D visualization of it. And if the bar is closer to you, then that means it's louder. If it's further away, then it's lower in volume. So it's trying to give you a visual perspective of how it would sound. You know, the louder it is, it's closer to you. The softer it is, the further away it sounds. Now, to be honest with you, when I did play with MIXROOM, I did do a video of it, but unfortunately I lost the video and I can't redo the video without buying the plugin because I've already used my demo license and it will not let me demo it again. It just locks the interface. I can't do anything with it, understandably. So I'm assuming that that would go sort of hand in hand with this because this is obviously targeting anything from 320 hertz up. And the MIXROOM plugin is the opposite. It works from 320 hertz down. So I guess the concept is that we would be using both of these plugins together to get our final mix. We'd work on our low end with the MIXROOM and we'd work on the higher end with the MIXROOM. And it seems to go all the way up to 20K there, which you can see. Now, if we didn't want to use the smart function here, I assume we can remove all of these. If I find this little cross here. Now, I haven't used this, so just a heads up. I am learning this as I am doing this video. So I wanted to give you an experience of me learning it and seeing what I think. If we want to add an EQ band, you can see here it says double click to add an EQ band. So we can double click. And here's our EQ band, right where I just did it. I think you could double click anywhere you want. And you could just keep adding bands. I don't know if there's a limit. There could be, I don't know. Maybe the fact that I've got all those in there is already done. And as I showed there, we can obviously get rid of them with this little cross, which you get to come up by going over into the middle section here. Okay, so you can also double click here if you want to target a specific sort of frequency. Now, I'm going to turn these tooltips off because they are annoying me. Okay, so I could pick a frequency on the side here, or you could probably pick there. I mean, wherever you want to pick, doesn't really matter. Did I just add two bands on top of each other? I think I did, but I can't see. Yes, there it is. Okay, so one of their claim to fames here, or what they like to sell, is this point of, as I said, bringing a 3D element to it. So you can sort of drag, I've clicked and dragged the mouse up and that brings it forward, which is louder. If I bring it down, that's further back. But I believe if you just hold your mouse over it, you can also use your scroll button to go in and out as well. All right, and you can see what it's visually doing here with this dotted curve as well. And you can obviously see the number in there. So it is a sort of, I guess, a fresh approach. It's an approach that I really didn't particularly like myself in MIXROOM when I tried it. Now I'm going to keep an open mind doing it in here as well, but it may work for people that are new to the way of mixing and mastering. But for me, it was a little bit just too out of the norm for me. I preferred my other view. So I did struggle with it. I have to admit that. Okay, so if we want to move this to a different frequency, we can click on the line here in the middle and just drag it up and down. So it's going to change our frequency. We can obviously double click in here as well and change the value. I don't know what happened there, but if I double click in here, I'm actually double clicking the gain. Sorry, my mistake. You can double click the line and then it will come up with our frequency. So if we want to do 1,000, okay, that's really interesting. I thought I did 1,000. Did I not type 1,000? That's 1,000. Ah, damn it. I did the gain again. Yay. 1,000. Enter. Okay, that was better. I must have typed it wrong before. Don't know what happened. But anyway, so yeah, you can double click on this line to enter a value, or just click on the line and drag it up and down. All right, we also have a Q, which we can adjust with these dots here on the bottom, right? So grab the dots up and down, and based on the other one, yep, if you double click on these dots, then you can also enter a value. Okay, I typed 1 then. All right, I keep clicking on the wrong thing. That's my mistake. Okay, I keep clicking in this value here, and that's not what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be clicking on the thing I want to change. Okay, as I said, if we hover over here, we can delete it by doing the X. We can also solo the band if we want to hear what it's doing by clicking on this little headphones. So we could do a bit of a sweep if you wanted to. Change the Q. Right, or with the headphones on. We also have a bypass button here, so we can obviously bypass it. So we also have some other controls here. Let's have a look. We've got this little arrow here. It indicates a high shelf. The high shelf button allows you to switch between a high shelf and a bell function for that individual band. The high shelf icon appears on the EQ bands above 1.6 kilohertz. Hover your mouse over an EQ band control panel to reveal the high shelf band. So if we are below, okay, see now it disappeared. If we go below, so they don't have a low shelf because again, they're assuming that you might want to use the bass room plugin. As soon as you go above 1.6K, you can flick into high shelf mode, and you'll see here it's now covering everything above our frequency. So we can obviously move it up or down, and we're now in a shelf mode. We can click back on this button now, and it will switch back to a bell parametric style. All right, you'll also notice here we have a mid side. Okay, so we can click on the side. We can click on the full mid. Oh, we can click on stereo. Okay, you can overlap EQ bands, which we are doing right there. So we can bring focus to the EQ band by hovering over it, and it sort of hides the other one. It sort of still shows the line, but the bar itself disappears. So if one is totally covered, you can access it by supposedly clicking on its horizontal line. That's very hard to see there, but if you click on it, it now brings it forward. Let's see, I'm trying to show the line. It's very hard to see, but it is there, and it will bring it forward, and then you can obviously work on it. And then if you move off, then it's behind it again. Let's get that out of the way because I don't want that. Okay, you have A, B functionality. Quickly switch between two different states. So the arrow above copies. So if you want to copy to B, now you've got B. Now if I was to adjust A, we can switch between A and B. All right, I'm just going to remove these for the moment. Now, I'm not going to go into creating my own because I don't really want to drag files in and stuff like that. But there's no difference to the functionality here other than you dragging a file in or files in so that it can build a profile to build its sort of analysis, okay? I'm just going to focus on using the presets. As I said, functionality-wise, it'll work no differently other than the fact that it will just have different values because it'll base it on your songs as opposed to their expertly created presets. So if we just pull up a different sort of preset here, we'll see what it does. You'll see a green EQ curve appear on the walls of the mix room. This is the target EQ curve. Did we see that change? If we click on a target, nothing happens here. Now, I'm guessing that as soon as we play the song, it's now listening and it's analyzing. Okay, so it's building the curve. Okay, so the curve's been built now. So this is the target curve. I assumed that if I change presets, it would adjust the curve, but it must have to listen again. Now we can also reset it, it says, by clicking on this little buttons here to reset the targets, and that will just wipe them out. All right, so as I did before with the quick function, the point is that we can have a listen. It'll build the profile. And now we have two options. Okay, we can click on the add smart bands and it will add smart bands to match the EQ curve to get the song to sound what it expects it to be, the green line. Or we can come in and do it ourselves by just sort of going to the spot where we think the item is. So say this one here, you can clearly see that green line is, it wants it to be boosted. So we could come and double click there and we could sort of adjust our scope here, whatever we want to do, and we can bring it forward, you know, match it to the green line sort of thing. Again, you could adjust your cue, you could move your frequency, whatever else. And in theory, get it to sound. Now, obviously, we just did one band there. So if I get rid of this, now the smart button's gone because I stuffed around with it. Okay, because I did it manually, the smart bands thing went away, so we've got to reset and do it again. Okay, so if we add the smart bands, you can see that it's done pretty much what I said, but it created what I did before, but it created a bigger one here. It's got a little cut at the top there, at the very top. You know, and it's added cut in the mid. And obviously this preset here, I just picked a random one, right? It's not appropriate at all. But the point was just to show that they actually do have different stuff. And you'll see it's had a gap here. It doesn't see the point in putting anything here. It's just done a dip here instead. Now, the other thing it talks about is, I guess, this frequency spec here. It's indicating that the brighter it is, the more energy there is in that frequency range. So it's giving you a visualization on here as well of where things are very heavy, very loud, that sort of thing. Now you can see here that, see, it's gone orange. That is because the loudness now is not the same. So really, if we wanted to balance this, so if I play it and I bypass, it's a big difference in volume, okay? So what they're stating here is that you need to move this slider across to get to the arrow or close to it. And then the loudness should be the same. Okay, so that is how that level part works. Doesn't do it automatically, you have to do it for it. Now in here, we've also got a few other things. So, you know, delete all bands, add smart bands, reset targets. We've also got filter mode and filter phase. So what do they state? Because you can't change that. Okay, it's not allowing me to change the filter mode anyway. So what they state for the filter mode is that the mix mode, which is what it's on now. Oh, for God's sakes. There we go. Are best when your EQ bands have cuts or boosts greater than 4 dB and Q bandwidth settings narrower than 1.5 Q. Okay, which we do have cuts and boosts greater. MST master mode filters are best when your EQ bands have cuts and boosts less than 4 dB and Q bandwidth settings broader than 1.5 Q. When in master mode, MIXROOM will not allow you to exceed these thresholds. You won't be able to select master mode when in mix mode if your current settings exceed the thresholds. Okay, so if we delete all bands, we could now switch to master mode. And then I would assume, let's put that back. We reset the targets. Okay, it doesn't want to show them. Okay, it's refusing to do the smart bands because, oh, did it refuse? No, hang on, it just hid them. Yeah, so it's limited it to minus or plus 4 dB, even though it wanted to do more. And that's what it came up with, that red error, because we've gone into mastering mode. So I guess the point of mastering mode is that we are trying to enforce this to be more subtle and that we don't want major drastic changes. We're happy with our mix. We just want to polish this and adjust it very finely. Okay, so we don't want massive increases. Now, -4 and +4 dB in mastering is still pretty heavy. Now, of course, if we were in mix mode and we did it now, we suddenly get those big cuts and boosts, right? Again, we are using a incorrect preset, so that's why we're getting these extreme values. Okay, we also had the filter phase here. So we've got a linear and minimum. So linear filters will introduce very slight transient effects, but no phase distortion. And minimum phase filters introduce much less transient effects, but some phase distortion. So linear phase is used a bit more in mastering than it is in mixing. Minimum is for usually your standard EQ style filter type. Linear uses a lot more processing power a lot. Now, as you could see there, you could delete all bands. You can reset the targets. We could have added bands individually. Like we could add 8 bands. Bang! We've added 8 bands. And we could delete them all. We could add so many, whatever we choose there. Now, we could have also bypassed clicking on this speaker here. I was doing it up here in Cubase, but this does exactly the same thing. You can see that it automatically bypasses it anyway. Now, we could also display a different range. So if we click on here, you can see we could go down to very small amounts if we were getting into mastering and we want to see it keep the comparative distances, but with smaller quantities. You know, so if you're only doing 2 dB boosts, you may not see much of a movement, and that might be distracting for you, and you may be tempted to boost more and more and more, or cut more to make it stand out. So if you want to keep your values quite low, then set your range here fairly low, and that way, so like if I have a band here, you know, you can see that that's plus 3 dB there, and that's in an 8 dB range. Did that change automatically? Okay, we can't. So if you're in a 4 dB, you can see that visually looks like you've done a huge boost, right? Now, if I bring that back to 2, and I bring this to 2, again, it looks like a huge boost there, right? So if you're in mastering and you want to make sure that you keep your little EQ adjustments very, very low, then if you set your meter here to plus 2 dB, then you know that you can make big movements, but they're going to be very small movements in reality. If we had it at 12, you can see a 2 dB move there is just a tiny little slither on this one. So the temptation is going to be to do bigger boosts or cuts, which is not going to be great for your mastering, right? Might be more beneficial for mixing, but not for your mastering. All right, and that's pretty much the premise of the whole thing. That's the extent of what it talks about doing. Let's go back and do this again. We'll do it on a few songs. We'll do it on a few tracks. We'll just have a bit of a play and have a listen to what it's doing. Okay, so I'll go back to this. We'll say it's a rock. I really don't know what you call it. Let's just go alternative. See what that does. Okay, so here's our curve here. You can see what it wants to do. So if we add the smart bands, it doesn't sound very good to me, but that sounds horrible. So we can solo what it's doing. Or we could bypass it. Now, I have to admit straight away, one thing that is throwing me off, and I understand why they're doing it, because they have a separate plugin for this, MIXROOM. This frequency range, though, being 320, is throwing me off, because I keep looking at this, thinking this is our low end. That's what I was thinking then. I'm thinking, okay, well, this is going to add some nice warmth to this. Well, no, because it's 1K. Me personally, I would have loved to have seen the MIXROOM and MIXROOM probably combined together if I owned both plugins in the one interface, because, as I said, this is sort of throwing me off. I would have to have both up all the time to keep reminding me that, hey, this is, you know, not any bass. This is not bass at all. Again, this is the first time use, so I guess if I used it day in, day out, I'd get used to it, and I would know that, and then there'd be no problem. But it's just from my very initial thought, this is the way I think of it, because when I generally look at an EQ, I get the whole frequency range. I don't get a cut down version of it. So anyway, back to what it's doing. So we can see what that's doing. It's cutting out. That's cutting out some body to that So we could solo it. Okay, it doesn't like that, obviously. All right, so what if let's bypass most of these. Now, what I want to do is just for an experiment here, right? I'm going to bring this top end forward. All right, so I'll bring the cue down a bit. What I want to do is play with the mid side, so okay, that's interesting. Okay, that's either very high or there's nothing up there because I couldn't hear anything then. All right, let's do this one then. All right, bring it down. See, again, the frequencies are deceiving me there. That's all right. Why is the movie not working? Okay, I can't boost that anymore. What? Why? I don't know why I can't boost that. It won't let me. All right, I'm going to delete all bands. I'm going to add one in. We're going to boost. So, if we go to mid, this is what we're talking about here. Okay, so it doesn't affect the sides, it just affects the mid. Alternatively, go side. So if you want to add top end just to your side, you could do that. Have it on side, or if the sides are too loud, you want to cut it down. Obviously back to stereo. Now, if you do this stereo, okay, I was curious about that moving. So we've got the three extremes. Okay, so we've got the extreme here. If we double click on the stereo thing here, that is full stereo. If we click on mid, we are specifically this mid section. If we click on side, if I can click on it, we're specifically on the side. Now, if I was to drag like this, you can see now we're going proportional between the extremes, okay? So that is, again, still full side, but we could come back and be not so extreme. Or we can go away from the sides toward the mid again, but not so extreme, and there's that percentage moving in the middle. And then if we double click back on there, we go back to stereo. Okay, so that's what that does. All right, so we don't really know what it should have done for this song or what it thinks it should have done for this song. So let's go and find another song that maybe is a bit more obvious. Okay, so I've got a bit of a heavier song on this one. So we're going to pick rock. Let's go hard rock this time, okay? I noticed they don't have a... Oh, they do have a metal genre. Let's go with metal. So it was under other. It's such an unimportant category. They put it in other. All right, let's get it listening. Just let it think for a bit because it's moving around a bit actually. All right, let's add the smart bands. level. That's before. I mean, it sounds all right to me. That's not too bad. It depends on what sound you're going for, of course. So in this case here, it did a boost of 1.9, sort of up at the top end here. And no, it didn't do a shelf. It's still doing a bell style because we could switch it to a shelf, but it didn't. It's doing a cut here at 4.89K. It's doing a boost at 1.7, so adding a bit of 2K almost. And it's doing a cut down at the 320 for the boxy. All right, I'm going to be controversial right now, okay? Sort of controversial. Or honest, whatever you want to take it as. If you seriously like this plugin and you're seriously going to get this plugin, you need to get MIXROOM. All right, because I don't see the value in having something do half the work. Right? If you look here, it's not doing anything to our low end. So if we're assuming that we want to use this and we want to use the smart bands and, you know, we might still tweak the smart bands. I mean, don't just necessarily trust what it does. Use it as a guide and adjust it if you think it's being heavy-handed with certain things or you've lost certain sounds, of course. But the fact that it's not doing any of the bass means that you're doing half the job. So you need to now go and get MIXROOM to do the other half. Now, I guess in theory, I could have said the same thing, you know, a month ago with the MIXROOM plugin. But saying that, a lot of people have no problem working on their low end with a plugin by itself and then doing the rest of the mixing themselves. I've never seen anybody focus on this and do nothing on the low end. So I just think, and look, this is not me putting the plugin down, okay? All I'm saying to you is if you like this, obviously demo it first, right? Don't trust what I say. Don't trust what I do here. Demo it for yourself. If you like what it does and you think you're going to love using it, seriously consider investing in the bundle or whatever it is to get MIXROOM, because you're going to want to do the entire spectrum. You're not going to want to do half the job. Right, so definitely I would suggest not buying this by itself. Unless, of course, you already own MIXROOM, then this is a great complement to it. But if you own neither and you are thinking of buying one, either buy MIXROOM by itself if you're only worried about the bass, or if you're thinking about doing the whole lot, buy the bundle because this is doing half the job. And I just think, to me, as a person that doesn't own either, I just would have loved to have seen MIXROOM added into the same interface. That's me. Okay, you can argue against that. They can argue against it, whatever. I just would have liked to have seen it all combined into the one plugin, to be honest with you. Instead of having to have two separate plugins open on my track, taking up two inserts to do one sort of EQ function in a way. Look, I'm sure there's a lot of power behind both of them, and that's maybe why it's justified as two separate plugins, but that's just my brain anyway. Okay, so take that as it is. Right, so let's just play that again. So this is what it thinks it did. So as before, and that is after. Right, so you could obviously come in here. You could say, okay, didn't add enough. Or it was too much. Don't like that cut. You know. Or, I want to adjust instead of getting it around. Maybe, no, I didn't want that. I want a very mid missing. Or I preferred that bottom bit or whatever it was. Right, you can obviously see what I'm doing here. I'm not doing anything magical. All right, let's see what it analyzes for this. So I'm thinking this is some sort of electronic. Let's just go dance. Okay, probably not the best spot because we just went into a damn filter phase there. Let's reset the target. Let's do it again. Add the smart bands. Wow, that did some drastic cuts, didn't it? Okay, what if we delete all the bands? Now I'm going to switch over to mastering mode here and reset the targets. Get it to do it again. Keep ending up in that filter. Hang on. So it gives us the warning because it can't do what it wanted to do. But at least that sounds probably a bit more natural. Before and after. Not 100% convinced on what it did there, but it is what it is. So let's move over to something else. Let's go for an individual track this time. This time we have a bass guitar and it's going to be, we'll go metal. That's before. Yeah, it's pretty nice for I guess metal if you want that sort of top clacky sort of bass. Now what if we actually said we wanted it to be something else, like a clean rock? So let's delete all the bands. Jesus, it's just a massive boost there and a massive boost there. So then you got to bring the volume down to match. That's before. And that is after. Now, I keep saying this, but if I'm doing bass guitar, this plugin is not doing anything with the bass frequencies. Okay. You need MIXROOM. Why? Why? You would not use this on bass without MIXROOM. I'm sorry, but that's just my opinion. All right. What about a drum kit? Do we have one here? Right. So we are going to do drums. Now, again, I'm going to say it straight up front. Drums have a kick drum in it. This does not do low end. So, okay, how? Okay, we're going to say it's a full kit live rock. Let's go with that. Okay, that adjusted late. Okay, that's before. That is after. Definitely made it sound cleaner. That would be this big cut here in the 1K that it cleaned it up, and a boost here at the top end. So, look, it's doing a pretty good job. I'm not disliking what it's doing. I just think without bass, it's missing the whole element of it. So anyway, I keep saying the same thing over and again, but I can't help it. Now, I mean, here, okay, so I'm not even going to put one on, but if I open this up and I look at the presets, we go to drums. Here is a kick, pop, live. There's no bass. How is it doing the kick? Is it only doing the top end of the kick? I don't get that. Even the toms, okay, toms you assume has some low end in it, especially your floor tom. Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense from that perspective. I'm sorry, but that's just me. I'm just going to go with that. So let's just keep trying a couple more, quickly get through this just for the sake of trying a few things out. So this is an acoustic guitar. So we're going to go to guitar. Okay, we don't have anything like acoustic. Nope. All right, so I guess we'll just have to pick. Well, there's no acoustic, so we're just going to have to pick clean electric because they don't believe in acoustic guitars. Okay, this has really gone off the charts here. Okay, when my hearing comes back from having it blown out by top end. All right, it did not like that at all. Okay, I'm not even going to go there with that one. It hated the acoustic. All right, let's do this distorted, dirty guitar, hey? Just do a couple more examples and then we'll wrap it up. So guitar, we have distorted electric or gritty electric. I don't know what the difference is. Or we have metal. Oh, let's try a couple of them, hey? Hey, it loves to do boost, doesn't it? Okay, that sounded really bad. It's really struggling with some of these. Let's just try distorted electric. I mean, I know it's not the best sounding guitar, but I probably would have started with a cut. I'm not going to, you can see the green line is off the charts here. This is just going to destroy it. Let's try the other one. Is the other one a clearer? Yeah, that's clearer. Let's go with that one. That first one was probably, I said it a bit too difficult to challenge, I think. I haven't set a target. Set a target. Metal. I am going to totally disagree with that entirely. This is a metal guitar. A guitar generally has frequencies up to 5 kilohertz. That's its primary spot, up to 5K. Anything above that, especially with distorted guitar, is hiss and fizz and stuff you generally don't want. Now, you don't want to get rid of it, but you sure as heck are not going to do a 12 dB boost in this range for metal guitar. I don't know what professional engineer or what analysis they did there. I just totally disagree with that. Now, you can argue with me about it in the comments if you want and say, well, no, you're wrong. That is just, I'm sorry, that just sounds horrible. Why would you do that? I agree it's not very bright, but I would not do that. I would be more tempted to be coming down here, and I still wouldn't be boosting that much. Cutting down there, yeah. Again, though, it's sort of missing a little bit of the point here because it's tried to get down as low as it could, right down to the bottom, 320. There's a good chance that we needed to go down lower here to clean that up. So we need a bass room to help this out. We just can't do the job with this. Now, I'm just curious with this one here, what would it have been if I had just said distorted guitar? We'll try distorted guitar. I was going to say the difference between a few of them. Okay, it's still... Okay, it wants to do the same thing. So if I go gritty electric... Now it wants to boost everywhere. Okay. And lucky last. Let's try a modern rock. Yeah, I don't think it's, yeah, it hasn't done a good job as far as I'm concerned on that one. Now, I have some demo vocal tracks, not that one.
Dance, 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 gonna make you dance, dance, dance.
Okay, it's just a sample of some female singers. See what it thinks of that. All right, so what do we got in the way of vocals? Female backing. Oh, let's try female backing.
Dance, dance, dance. Gonna make you dance, dance, dance. Dance, dance, dance. Gonna make you dance, dance, dance. Dance, dance, dance. Gonna make you dance, dance, dance. Dance, dance, dance. Gonna make you dance, dance, dance.
That's actually not too bad. I don't mind that. It's done okay with that one for a backing vocal. Now, what would it do if we said that's clearly a pop?
Dance, dance,
If we made out it was the
dance.
main vocal.
Gonna make you dance, dance, dance. Dance,
Oh,
dance,
about that.
dance. Gonna make you dance, dance.
Oops. Did I miss the chance? Oh, we can do it manually. That's fine. Okay, this is before.
Dance, dance, dance.
And after.
Gonna make you dance, dance, dance. Dance, dance, dance.
It's really brought it out.
Gonna make you dance, dance, dance.
Let's just drop that volume.
Dance, dance, dance. Gonna make you dance, dance, dance. Dance, dance, dance. Gonna make you dance, dance.
So it actually hasn't done too bad a job on that one. So it struggles with some things and then others it does pretty well. It is doing major moves though, which, yeah, you might just want to back off a little bit on some of these. But anyway, hopefully that's given you enough examples of whether you think it's going to be any good or not. Definitely demo it because, as I said, it is a unique approach to doing it. And the moving it in and out and creating those blobs and things like that may work with you or they may not. You may prefer traditional EQ. I personally prefer traditional EQs. I didn't hate this as much as I probably did the first time I tried MIXROOM. My biggest gripe with this obviously is the fact that missing MIXROOM means that it's doing half the job. And it keeps saying to me that I need to have both plugins. If I was to entertain using this whatsoever, I would have to have both plugins. There's just no way I could get away with just using that one plugin. That is probably my biggest gripe. And it's not always doing a great job with its analysis. As far as I'm concerned, the company may argue with me and say that I'm totally wrong. That's fine. I don't care. Music is an art. Everybody has their own different sound and style. So, you know, what works for one may not work for another. We just go with what we go. But this style of plugin, as I said, demo it because it may work specifically for you. You may be somebody that's never really understood normal EQs, struggled with the way they work. You just need a totally different approach. And maybe this is the approach you need. So demo it out, give it a shot. But as I said, if you are thinking of buying it, if you don't own MIXROOM, I would highly, highly suggest that you invest in the bundle now and get MIXROOM and MIXROOM together, because I think you are going to be very disappointed that you did not get MIXROOM with it. So there you go. There is MIXROOM from Mastering the Mix. Let me know what you think of it in the comments. If you have any questions, please, again, feel free to put them in the comments. I'd love to help where I can. And let me know what your thoughts are about the plugin or anything that I have covered in this video. Again, if you like what you see, please click the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell to be notified of all my future videos. All of your support helps me to continue to make content like this, and I really do appreciate the support that everybody gives me. Hopefully the video has been helpful. I thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.